Hello YouTube and fellow DC comic fans, I'm Keith One Shot, and this is my Comic Complete Dramatic Reading Series, and today we will be covering Batman, issue 25, The War of Jokes and Riddles, from DC Rebirth. All art, text, characters, and storylines belong to DC Comics and their respective owners, not me. If you enjoyed this story, feel free to go out and support DC Comics and your local comic book shops. We start this issue off with a comedian on a dark stage. The spotlight is on him and he's trying his best to stay alive out there, as his jokes are failing to deliver the punchline. While this is happening, Batman is also narrating. After it was all over, I tried to see how it all began. I went where they had gone. If there were recordings, I watched the recordings. If there were witnesses, I interviewed the witnesses. If there was evidence, I collected the evidence. When I found all that I could find, I visited each of them in turn. I talked to them in their cells. I spoke to them across the bars. They told me their stories. Some of it was true. In the end, I knew everything there was to know. Or at least, I knew every fact there was to know. What happened? What motivated them? What motivated me? Whether I knew that or understood that, I don't. All I can do is tell the story and let you decide. The comedian on the stage is bombing his audition so terribly that the man watching him stands up and says, "Enough!" The comedian begs the man for one more chance to tell a great joke, the comedian telling the man, "I swear it's good, you'll love it, it kills," and sure enough, it does kill, as the man fires the pistol, giving off a loud bang, and just like that, the would-be comedian is dead. The man then says, "Next, please." As the second comedian comes to the stage, he says, I'm Chris Feta from Queens," and the man in the dark says to him, Yes, don't forget to clean up the stage. Alright, go ahead, Mr. Feta, I'm ready to laugh." We then jump over to the interrogation room of the GCPD, where an officer is interrogating a prisoner. The prisoner laughs. Ha 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 ha. Then the officer says to the prisoner, "I got 14 dead in Gotham here, Enigma, so excuse me, but I'm not seeing the joke." Turns out, the prisoner is none other than Edward E. Nygma, the Riddler. Enigma replies to the officer by saying, "No, I'm sorry. I know you don't, detective, but can't you at least see? That is the joke." Batman then narrates, Riddler had been locked up for almost a year. During that time, some cops in GCPD had begun using him. If they had a puzzle they couldn't solve, they went to him. The officer is getting frustrated with Nygma, and he's about to leave. Then he says to Nygma, "Guess Gordon's right. Only the Bat can figure out where Joker's hiding." Then Nygma replies by saying, "Wait, please. I can do it. I can help. I can solve it better than... Anyway, if you can just clarify one thing, it'll be easier to solve." The police officer then replies, "Sure, Nygma. What do you need?" The Riddler then tells the officer, "Well, if you could just, could you just tell me why the end of the world never comes?" The officer is confused by this, and he answers, "Excuse me?" Then suddenly, Nygma leaps forward at the officer with a knife in his hand as he violently stabs the officer and says to him the answer of his own question, "Because it's round!" Then we see the officer's dead body on the ground, and Nygma standing over him as Batman narrates. The Riddler started in the lieutenant's neck, but it seems the knife hit a hard bone, frustrating him, so he moved on quickly to the stomach, then the chest, then back to the neck, the face, up, down, in, out. He stabbed the lieutenant 26 times, once for each letter of the alphabet. He said it was to show he had something to say, something he was trying to spell out. We are then outside in the daytime, at the Joke Factory, where the building is surrounded by GCPD officers, led by Commissioner Gordon. One officer tells Gordon, "Team's ready! What's the call, Commish?" Then Gordon tells the officer, "Send them in now! Go, go, go!" Then, as the officers make their way closer to the Joke Factory, there's a sudden loud boom as the face of the building explodes. The officers then regroup behind their cars. Then Batman narrates. Before the start of it all, it felt to me like weather was a reaction, or a consequence. I was coming off my first year. I had fought the demons. I had warred on crime. I had done well. Gotham had been in the shadows for decades, and I came in, dug in my heels, put my shoulder on its steel, and I pushed. I pushed it into the light. Outside of the Joke Factory, a man is pointing his gun at a police officer who is knocked down from the explosion. The man kills the officer and says to the officer's dead body, "A man walks into a bullet. Ouch. Isn't that funny? It should be funny. No. We then see that the man is the Joker, as he then shoots a woman and says to the woman, "A woman walks into a bullet. No. Then the Joker walks away from the scene of the crime. Batman then narrates, I stood on a rooftop that very morning. As Joker was holding his auditions in the club, I looked out at the sun rising over the skyline. I felt the warmth of the coming dawn. I remember. I smiled. Then I went home and slept peacefully. We then see the Riddler as he's making his escape. He is swarmed by GCPD SWAT members who aim and point their guns at the Riddler and demand that he get on the ground. Then one SWAT member says to Nygma, "You have 3 seconds, then we drop you. 3, 2, then Nygma begins saying names. Joanna Elizabeth Sanchez, Lillian M. Langsford. One of the SWAT members then says, That's my daughter's name." Then Nygma says more names, and another officer says, Don't say another word! You don't get to say her name! But then the Riddler keeps saying more names, which is freaking out and scaring most of the SWAT members. And then one of them says to Enigma, "You come near my daughter!" Then Enigma says, "Ahem. When is it bad luck to see a black cat?" And as Enigma walks away, he says, "When you're a mouse." Batman then narrates, Riddler made friends with a guard, Ronnie Barron. Started showing Ronnie how to bet on football games. Ronnie made quite a lot of money. When I talked to him, he didn't think there was anything wrong with it. It was money for his kids, for his daughter. Ronnie told me the Riddler never asked for anything that would help him in escape. Not for a shovel or a knife. Nothing at all. All Riddler wanted was stories about the other guards. What they did on their off time. Where'd they live? Were they married? Did they have kids too? We then see the Joker in the backseat of a taxicab, and the Joker says to the driver, a man goes into a toy store and says he would like to buy a new boomerang, but he would also like to know how to throw the old one away. The taxicab driver then starts laughing and says, okay, that's pretty funny. Then suddenly a loud bang! The Joker shot the taxicab driver and says, no it's not. Then we see the taxicab go out of control without its driver as it crashes into a nearby fountain. Then the Joker stumbles out and shoots a man as he walks into a nearby building. Then Batman narrates. He thought it might have been hilarious, after all this time, all the people he's murdered, all the people that want to murder him. Then one pretty night, for no reason at all, he breaks his own neck in the back of a car. It could have been hilarious. He could have just died laughing. The crash was reported in the police channels. I had an alert tied to that site and was informed immediately. I got in the car, drove fast. I did all I could to get there as soon as I could, but the Riddler got there first. We then see the Riddler walking into the same building that the Joker just did a moment ago, and the Riddler says, stop imagining. A man wishes to go into a nightclub, but he does not know the password required for entry. The man observes others being let in, talking to the doorman. The doorman says 12, the visitor says 6, let in. The doorman says 6, the visitor says 3, and is let in. The man now understands the pattern as he goes to the entrance. The doorman says 10, the man says 5. The man is turned away rudely. But why? The code is the number of letters in the word. 12 is 6, 6 is 3. 10, therefore, should also be 3. The Riddler makes his way through the building and into the Joker's penthouse apartment, and the Riddler says, knock knock. The Joker then answers, who's there? The Riddler then responds by saying, an answer. But before we get to that, would you like to know how I knew the question? How I solved your puzzle? The puzzle you left for him? The pattern on the map? The nose and the clown face you were building? Then the joke for the location. Why did 6 fear 7? Because 7, 8, 9. But I didn't just see that. I saw everything. I know you can't laugh. The Joker begins to look increasingly more pissed off, as the Riddler continues to say, it was in the patterns, the way you were attacking Gotham, stand-ups, joke shops, comedy movies, shows, looking for humor, all while drawing him to you. It's him, isn't it? Punchlines need to be unpredictable, that's why they're funny. But with him, now everything is predictable. You always lose. The Joker is just sitting there with his hands on his chin, letting the Riddler talk, as the Riddler goes on to say, you need to laugh, or else who are you? And you can't laugh as long as he's out there. To laugh again, you'll need to kill him. What you don't know is, I feel the same way. Riddles, they're all after him now. They're all pathetic to me. I can solve anything, everything, but I can't solve him. And if there's a puzzle I can't solve, I need to solve the puzzle, or else who am I? The Riddler then points at the Joker and tells him, I was trapped inside that prison, willing to be trapped there forever. Then I saw you. I saw your plan, and I had to talk to you. I had to stop you. Think. If one of us does it, the other will forever be unsatisfied. I can't let you solve my puzzle. You can't let me tell your joke. I'd kill you before I'd let you kill him, and you'd try to kill me before I did the same. We'd go to war. We'd burn this city trying to stop the other from doing what we have to do. And worst of all, he lives. Neither of us finds a way out of his maze. Then, the Riddler looks at the Joker and says to him, but there's a way out, friend. The path is obvious. The two of us, jokes and riddles. We don't fight. We come together. We laugh together. We solve together. We kill the Batman. Then the Joker finally lets out a as the Riddler leans closer to the Joker and says, I can see all the moves. Everyone. It's what I do. And this is the only move that gets us out of this hell. The Joker is finally done listening, and he says to the Riddler, yes, you're right. Together. It's the only way I'll laugh again. Or maybe, this will more. Then the Joker puts his gun to the Riddler's stomach and pulls the trigger. Bang! And the Riddler falls to the ground. The Joker says, no, that didn't. That's not funny. Then the Joker walks away and says, and now with you. Well, if he comes, how will it play out? I don't know. Batman then narrates, 45 caliber from that distance, that much blood lost, no one survives that. Then we see Batman crash through the window into the Joker's penthouse apartment, where he finds the Riddler bleeding out on the ground, and the Riddler says to Batman, he took my bomb, the Joker, he ran, he left with the bomb. Then Batman narrates, that's why I left, because he wouldn't survive, and there were others who might. Alone now, he grabs his wounds. He squeezed it, and blood filled his hands, as if he were an old sponge. He later told me dripping with water and soap, waiting to be wrung. And so while I chased the Joker, while I lost the Joker amongst the panic in the building, the Riddler too got away. And so it came. Over the next months, as I fought to hold the city together, Gotham divided, then fell into slaughter, misery, torture, mayhem, havoc, devastation, insanity. We then see Bruce Wayne, and he says, people think they understand me. Alfred, Gordon, the boys, all of Gotham in its way. Even you, a man in pain trying to save who he can. They think, but they don't understand a damn thing about me. We then see it's Selina Kyle, the Catwoman, who Bruce is laying down in bed with as he's been talking to this whole time, and Bruce tells Selina, because they don't know, Cat. They have no idea. You have no idea. But you have to before any of this. You have to know what I did. What I had to do during the War of Jokes and Riddles. We start the story off with a cab driving up to a house. We hear the driver say to the man in the back of his cab, "Hey, we're here. Number 69, Dick Sprang Ave. Northeast Gotham. That's 3773. That's kind of funny, right? Dick Sprang and 69. Isn't that funny?" The man then gets out of the back of the cab and says, "That is funny, yes." Then we see that the man in the backseat of the car is none other than the Riddler. Then we see him walk towards the house. Then we hear gunshots inside of the house. Bang, bang, bang. We then hear Batman narrate, "The taxi belonged to Daryl Campbell. He'd been driving for 14 years. He'd like to say he put 2 kids through college on just tips. The house belonged to Kim and Tony Templeton. They moved there a year ago with their 3 kids. We then see Batman standing on a rooftop as we hear a police dispatcher say over the radio, "All cars, 911's come in. Says we got a body in a car at Sheldon and Moldoff. Caller reporting victim possibly using narcotics. Caller was riding in victim's taxi. Identifies victim from his ID as Daryl Campbell. Don't really understand it. Caller says victim started laughing for no reason and just couldn't stop laughing." We then see Batman jump off the rooftop and make his way through the streets of Gotham. We then see in a dark room, a doctor seeing a patient. The doctor then says to the patient, "Let's see how he did." Then the doctor gets closer and says, "Oh my." Then the patient says, "Mirror." The doctor then replies, "You see what I had to work with here?" The patient then yells, "Mirror." We then hear Batman narrate, "Lost his medical license after selling opioid samples to his cousin, who was sleeping with his wife, and turned him in. She left him, took the cat, it broke him, he loved the cat." Then we see the patient stand up and check himself out in the mirror, and then we see that the patient is the Riddler. He had the doctor sew the hole in his chest from where the Joker shot him in the last story. As the Riddler is looking at the work that the doctor did, he says, "What does man love more than life? What does he fear more than death and strife? What does every contented man desire? What do the poor have that the rich require? What does the miser spend and the spendthrift save? What does every man carry to his grave?" The answer, of course, is nothing. Later on, we see Commissioner Jim Gordon at the doctor's office. It seems the Riddler killed the doctor before he left. Gordon checks the body, then says to Batman, "Dr. James Knowles, or formerly Dr. James Knowles." Dispatch says he lost his license a year or so ago back. Got busted selling samples. How he got from there to helping the Riddler? Well, that's the mystery, isn't it? We then see the Joker look into a mirror while listening to a radio broadcast. The man on the radio says, "The escaped convict, the Riddler, is believed to have left one of his signature signals today on the wall of Gotham Plaza. Experts, though, are saying this particular signal is highly unusual for the Riddler." Channel 4 was able to speak to Gil Castro of Gotham Institute for Crime Studies. The man on the radio then continues his broadcast. "Gil, how would you assess this latest development?" We then hear Gil say on the radio, "Yes, well, typically, the Riddler leaves a riddle whose solution is key to his next crime. That's typical. As I was saying, so what we have here then is what we call atypical. I mean, he just wrote here, as you see, the Riddler's message says, 'I'm going to kill you, Joker. Then I'm going to laugh. Ha 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 ha.'" Gil Castro on the radio then continues to say, "So as I said, we assess that, in our experience for the Riddler, this is, we assess it to be atypical. But could this be an elaborate riddle? Like maybe the letters spell out something? I mean, maybe we didn't really. It seems straightforward. But what's straightforward? The Joker, the Riddler, even Batman. These are insane crazy people. To them, I mean, what does straightforward even mean? I look at their stuff every day. Every day these pictures. They could just kill us. All of us. I mean, if they want to, and I think they really want to." The radio broadcaster then says, "That's Gil Castro with the Gotham Crime Institute. We'll have more on the developing story throughout the night." We then see the Joker smile, then look down, disappointed and angry. The Joker then looks up again with a bigger smile on his face this time, but that too pisses the Joker off. The Joker then grabs his face with his hands, trying to force a smile, but it seems nothing can make the Clown Prince of Crime smile anymore, and that pisses the Joker off most of all, because without laughter, who is he? We then jump over to Carmine Falcone, who is sitting outside comfortably as one of his guards hands Falcone his phone. The man on the phone says, "Carmine, this is the Joker. I need you to kill the Riddler." Falcone then replies by saying, "What? Who is this? How did you get this number?" The Joker then says, "You have 1 hour. Thank you." Falcone then yells in his phone, "I'm gonna strangle you! You hear me? Whoever you are, I'm gonna feel you die in my damn fingertips!" The Joker then hangs up the phone, and Falcone says to his men, "What are you doing standing? Doing nothing! Find the damn Riddler! Kill him! You've got 1 hour!" We then see walking through the park, the Riddler talking to Poison Ivy. The Riddler says to Ivy, "What bothers me most is the fact, not the possibility, but the fact, of scorched earth, because that's what he's promised, to scorch the earth, and I know what a promise is worth. Can it be that bad? But what do we have besides promises? His actions to date, of course, but all of them point to one thing, his promises, scorched earth. Now I am by no means a perfect person, but I do have plans that..." The two then hear a crack, then turn around and see a few of Falcone's men. Then the Riddler says to them, "Oh, well hello friends, can I help you?" One of Falcone's men then says, "Miss, please move a few feet to your left, then close your eyes and cover your ears. Miss, I don't have time for arguing here. You move now, or you don't move anymore." Poison Ivy ignores Falcone's men as she asks Nigma, "A scorched earth?" Then Falcone's men say, "Alright, fine, have it your way." Then the Riddler replies to Ivy by saying, "There's no question to it, and I'm not one to stop questioning. It's who he is, it's what he does." Then Falcone's men say, "We tried, boys, let's do it." Poison Ivy then turns to Falcone's men as she has the vines in the forest wrap around and lift them in the air, strangling them. Ivy and Riddler then continue walking through the woods as they carry on their conversation, as the Riddler says, "Miss Isley, can I ask you a question? Nothing personal, just something to satisfy my own curiosity." Ivy replies, "Yes." Then the Riddler says, "I was thinking, if April showers bring Mayflowers, well, then what do Mayflowers bring?" Then Ivy says to the Riddler, "Right? Well, I think I may need more specificity. There are many flowers that bloom in May. Daffodils, senna, penny." Nigma then says to Ivy, No. You see, pilgrims, my dear. Mayflowers bring pilgrims." Ivy then replies, "Oh, well, yes, I understand. Pilgrims. That's very good." The Riddler then says, "Yes, it is," as the two of them walk away. We then see Batman driving through the forest on his motorcycle. Then he chops through the vines to free the body of Falcone's men, as Batman narrates. "Fishy had 3 kids, and 1 on the way. His wife thought he sold seafood at the docks. Big Guns was married to a guy named Sam Lipshin, a 5th grade teacher who shot himself a week later. The fan started working for Carmine a few months back. His wife had been diagnosed with breast cancer. He was trying to pay for some pills. Babyface was an undercover cop, reporting for Gordon. He'd served 3 tours overseas as a Marine. Gordon showed me the letter he wrote his widow." We then see the Joker at Carmine Falcone's house. As Falcone enters the room, he says to the Joker, "How the hell did you get in here?" Then the Joker tells Falcone, "It's been an hour. He's not dead, so here are your mother's teeth." Falcone then asks the Joker, "What did you say?" We then see the Joker as Falcone's mother's teeth laid out on the table as he points his gun at Falcone and says to him in a rage, "I said, these are her teeth. I took your mother's teeth from her mouth, and I made a smile on your desk." We then hear several gunshots. Bang, 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 bang! The Joker killed 3 of Falcone's men and shot Falcone in the arm. As Falcone is bleeding and holding his wound, we see a young penguin who's currently working for Falcone enter the room as Joker says to him, "You, fat man, you will be my assistant." The penguin then replies to Joker by saying, "Carmine's mother, she lives in Metropolis." Then Joker tells Penguin, "Arrange it with Carmine here. All of his resources will now answer through you, to me. These will be put towards one goal, kill the Riddler." Then as the Joker walks away, the Penguin says, "Metropolis, that's 3 hours away." Then we see Batman in an alleyway at night, standing over a victim that he's found, as he narrates, "Carmen Marie Falcone, born in Naples, Italy, pregnant at 16. Her father beat the child out of her. She wept and she left, and she came here to Gotham. Cleaned toilets on her hands and knees for 40 years. Raised 10 children, 9 of whom are among the best this country has. When she found out what the 10th had done, what he did, she spit in his face. She told the police about her boy. She wept and she left." We then see the army that the Riddler has assembled, which includes Victor Zsasz, Scarecrow, Two-Face, Killer Croc, Clayface, Firefly, and Deathstroke the Terminator. Then we hear Batman narrate. "It took a few more weeks before the city saw it was coming, before people realized that these dead weren't the normal dead of Gotham, that the bodies were coming in too fast, that the threat was not limited to one alleyway or one neighborhood, that the monsters were choosing sides, that anyone stuck between these monsters was just a thing to be put to the side, to be put down, a few weeks before they called it a war." Then we see the Joker in the army that he's gathered, which includes the Crewmaster, Deadshot, Man-Bat, Mad Hatter, the Ventriloquist, Solomon Grundy, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and Mr. Freeze. We then hear Batman narrate. "A year had passed since I put on the cowl. I had saved the city again and again. People had given me nicknames. The world's greatest detective, the Dark Knight, the Cape Crusader. I was a member of the Justice League. I was brave. I was bold. I was a superhero. I tried to stop it. As it started, I tried to stop them. But all I did was I took their names, the names of the dead. I found out who they were after. Before, they called me the Dark Knight, the world's greatest detective, the Cape Crusader. I was a superhero." We then see Bruce Wayne standing over his bed with Selina Kyle, the Catwoman, laying down with him as Bruce has been telling Selina his story of the War of Jokes and Riddles. We start this story off in a bar in Gotham City, where we see a man in a suit making a paper airplane and having a drink. The man then says, "I studied wind in school. All it is balance, right?" We then see Batman enter the bar and walk up to the man in the suit. The man, unaware that Batman is coming, continues to say, "The pressure of the world, moving from low to high, trying to find balance, and while trying to find it, it moves everyone, everything, this way, that way." We then see Batman standing right behind the man in the suit. Then Batman taps the man on the shoulder, and it seems this man has information that Batman needs, so Batman ties him up. We then see the man in the suit looking at a gargoyle in the face, as Batman has him dangling upside down, hanging from a rooftop. Batman then says to the man, "There's a way to contact the Joker! Find it!" Later on, we see the man in the suit talking with Deadshot, where we hear the man say, "I don't know if you remember, Floyd, but I did some key work with him. The Joker-mobile. I did the Joker-mobile, the aerodynamics on it. I mean, there were 4 of us helping him." Deadshot hands the man a cigarette and says to him, "Hold this." Then the man says to Deadshot, "He killed the other guys, but he didn't kill me because, well, I think maybe it shows he knew I could help him." Deadshot then tells the man, "Higher." Then the man raises his hand higher, then says to Deadshot, "So with this whole thing he's got going on with the Riddler now, I thought maybe I should reach out to him. And since you're on his side and all, I thought maybe you know." Deadshot then says, "Good." Then the man continues to say, "Maybe you could reach out to him or something, and I could, whatever I could do to help." Suddenly, Deadshot fires a shot from his gun, giving off a loud bang! The man barely dodges the bullet. Then he holds his ears. Deadshot tells him, "Yeah, what I thought. Calibration's off. Slipping right. You mind sticking around? I think I got a pencil around here for you to hold." Later on, we see Batman's hands grabbing the man by the collar, holding him against a wall, as Batman interrogates him by saying, "The number you got from Lawton went to an automated ISP. Untraceable. Useless. So you're gonna call him. Set up a meeting. When you do, I'll be there." We then see the Joker answering his phone, as we hear people talking on the TV in the background say, "All we can do is wait. There have been 42 homicides in the last week alone?" Then, Joker says to the person calling him, "You're the one with the name from the comics." Then we see it's the man from before, as he tells the Joker, "Yeah, Mr. Joker, that's me, Charles Brown. Chuck, really? I'm glad you remembered. That's nice." The Joker then responds by saying, "I used to read the comics. They were funny." Chuck then says, "Okay." Then the Joker tells him, "I don't think they're funny anymore. Do you think they're funny anymore?" Chuck tells Joker, "No." Then Joker says, 9 cats are on a boat. 1 jumps in the river. How many are left? None. They're copycats. Is that a joke or a riddle?" Chuck says, "What?" Then we hear the people on the TV talking again, as they say, "Gordon has stretched Gotham PD, and they have snapped. This war is going to kill us, but Batman! We then see Chuck flying a kite in the park with his son. Chuck says to his son, "You like it, Charlie?" And his son says, "Hell yeah!" Then Chuck tells his son, "Just say okay, buddy. You shouldn't say that word." His son then responds by saying, "Why? Is it a bad word?" Then Chuck says, "My mom, your grandma. She said if you use that word, you go to that place." His son then says, "Okay." Then Chuck tells his son, "So, Charlie, I'm sorry, but I can't go to your party on Saturday. I'm really sorry. I talked to your mom. We're going to something next weekend. You know I'd come if I could, but I can't. I have a meeting." His son then says, "Oh." Then the two continue flying their kite. Later on, we see Chuck walking out of a diner, singing a song. "Oh, say, let us fly, dear. We're kid to the sky, dear. Oh, you flying machine. Jump in, Miss Josephine." Then suddenly, we see a man behind Chuck. It's Clayface, and as he walks up to Chuck, he pulls him inside his body of clay and walks away. We then see the Riddler standing in front of a stage, as it seems Clayface has brought Chuck here. The Riddler then says, "Just to confirm, your son's name is your name, Charlie Brown." Chuck then replies, "Yes." Then the Riddler asks Chuck, "And he lives with his mother at Cavalier Terrace, apartment 37G. Chuck then answers, "Yes." Then the Riddler says, "Good. Now tell me about this meeting you've made with the Joker." Later on, we see Chuck drunk at a bar. Then he says to the bartender, "Hey, 9 cats are in a boat. 1 jumps off. How many are left? You think it's 8, but it's not. It's none because they're copycats. But is it? That a joke or a riddle, right?" Chuck then takes another shot, then says, "But I mean, is there a difference? Jokes and riddles, they're all, or is everything? I was thinking about the wind. You ever think about the wind?" We then go to the location of the meeting, where a huge war breaks out between the two sides, the Riddler and his army, and the Joker and his army. We then see the bat signal in the sky, as Batman arrives and does his best to fight both sides. And in all of the chaos, the Joker manages to grab and drag Chuck away, as the Joker says, "Good grief." After the battle, we see the Joker and Chuck sitting down on the couch. Chuck looks nervous as the Joker turns to him. Chuck says, "Batman had me set up the meeting, but then the Riddler found out, and I told him about the meeting. And then Batman found out about Riddler, so I told Batman about the meeting again. Then everyone was there." Then the Joker says, It's almost funny." Later on at night, we see Chuck looking sad and nervous on a rooftop, talking with Batman, as Batman tells Chuck, "Your son is safe as promised. He's got a cold, but he's fine. But you have to tell me, where did the Joker take you?" Chuck then opens up the jacket of his suit, revealing that he is wired to explode with bombs strapped to his body. Then Chuck tells Batman, "I'm sorry, Batman. I really am. He made me." Then Chuck clicks the button of the bomb. But instead of an explosion, we hear the Joker's voice say, "What goes, ha-ha, thump? A man laughing his head off." Chuck is confused by this, so he clicks a button again. Then he says, No, it's supposed to. The Joker said if I didn't. Chuck then clicks the button again, and we hear the Joker's voice say, "What goes, ha-ha, thump? A man laughing his head off." Chuck then says, "I don't get it." Then he clicks the button one last time. As he falls to his knees, we hear the Joker's voice again say, "What goes, ha-ha, thump? A man laughing his head off." Later on, we go to Chuck's apartment, where we see him watching a battle going on in the streets of Gotham, on the news, as we hear the people on the TV say, "The city is dead. Frank, you're being histrionic." No, it's histrionic to pretend that what's happening isn't happening. These criminals are making Gotham City their own little war zone. Yes, I agree, obviously, but just because it's rough now, doesn't mean it's dead. We then hear the phone ring in Chuck's apartment, as he takes a drink from his bottle. The phone keeps ringing as we hear the TV reporters continue to say, "Let me guess, Batman. You think Batman's gonna fix everything? I'm not saying he fixes everything, no, but I think it's an option. Batman, please, Bill, please. You might as well pray to the wind." We then see a kite flying in the wind, as we hear the Riddler say, "I love to dance and twist and prance. I shake my tail as away I sail. I fly up high into the sky. What am I?" Later on, we see Chuck on his knees telling Batman, he said he knew I'd betray him before he even came to me. It was all some riddle, or joke, or, I don't know, for you. But he put poison on the rope of the damn kite. I need to see my son. We then go to the hospital, where we see Chuck's son laying down on the hospital bed with his father by his side. Chuck's son then tells his father, "Daddy, I did something so bad." Then Chuck tells his son, No, Charlie, it's okay." Chuck's son then says, "I said that word, the one you're not supposed to say. I said it again. When mommy, I said it again." Chuck then looks down, trying to not cry in front of his son, as he says, "Don't worry about that, Charlie. You're fine. Everything's fine." Chuck's son then says, "Does it mean I'm going to that other place now?" Chuck's son then closes his eyes, as Chuck tells him, No. Then we see Batman in the hospital room with Chuck, as Chuck says, "No, my boy, please, no!" We then see Chuck sitting on the edge of a building at night, looking down in complete sadness, with Batman standing behind him. Batman then tells Chuck, "I'll catch him, Brown. I swear what the Riddler's done to your son, to the city, there will be vengeance." Chuck simply replies by saying, "This way, that way." Later on, we see Chuck in his garage, taking measurements, cutting fabric, and welding metal, as we hear the reporters on the TV say, "It just gets worse. Frank, where's your Batman now? He's helping. You see him in the streets. He helps, it gets worse. All I honestly see is a war that, to be over, needs to be won. We need to take a side. Gotham needs to take a side." What are we supposed to do, Frank? Send arms to the Riddler? We're supposed to have leadership. We're supposed to decide. We want safety? Someone has to win, so we have to pick a winner. We want the Joker gone? We help the Riddler. We want the Riddler gone? We help the damn Joker. We then see Chuck has been making a kite, big enough for a person to fly inside of. Then, the next day, we hear a knock on the door, and it turns out to be the house of the Joker. As he opens up the door with a knife in his hands, the Joker says to the person in the doorway, "Is this a joke?" We then see that at the Joker's door is Charles Brown in a new green and yellow suit, as Chuck says to the Joker, "Kite Man!" Then Joker says to Chuck, with a blank look on his face, "Kite Man!" Then Chuck replies by saying to the Joker, "Hell yeah!" We start the story off with Jim Gordon on 2 different days, side by side. On the first day, we see Jim Gordon taking off his tie, then his shirt and pants. On the second day, we see Jim Gordon putting on a prisoner's outfit, then cuffing himself, as he's then escorted by armed guards. We then hear Batman narrate, "I told him not to go. Have you looked at the map?" he asked me. "I've seen the map," I said. "The city has fallen," he said. "The city had fallen before," I said. "This is Gotham." I said this is what happens. What I said is, we catch it. You and I, Gordon, we raise it back up. He dragged in his pipe, then he laughed as smoke came from his mouth. "Do you ever listen to yourself?" he said. "I bet you do. But honestly, pal, do you ever believe what you hear?" We then see Jim Gordon on day 1 as he walks through the streets of Gotham, naked towards the carnival. Then, on day 2, we see Jim Gordon walking through Gotham in his prisoner suit as he makes his way towards a building with the armed guards escorting him. We then hear Batman narrate, "By that point in the war, Joker had captured most of Gotham's Upper West Side, Riddler at the east. Between the two is a park, where most of the overwrit fighting occurred. Waves of men and women crashing into each other, laughing at their jokes, marveling at their riddles. Once a day for an hour, the two sides would quit, let the authorities in to collect the bodies. During one of these quits to arrange his meetings, Gordon left 2 letters in the park. He said he wanted to talk. Unarmed, just talk. Maybe find a way out of this. The Riddler's response was a 37-page letter. It dictated where to go, what to wear, how to walk. The Joker used lipstick to write on the back of a dead man. 'Come in your undies.' 'They'll kill you,' I said. 'They'll try,' he said." We then see on the first day, Jim Gordon is naked standing in front of the Joker and his army, which includes Deadshot, the Ventriloquist, Scarface, Penguin, Mr. Freeze, Mad Hatter, and Solomon Grundy. We then hear the Joker say to Jim Gordon, "And the Lord said unto John, Come forth and you shall have eternal life. But John came fifth, and what a toaster." We then see on the second day, Jim Gordon is in a prisoner's uniform standing in front of the Riddler and his army, which includes Poison Ivy, Deathstroke, Victor Zsasz, Clayface, Killer Croc, Firefly, Scarecrow, and Two-Face. We then hear the Riddler say to Jim, "You're locked in a room with nothing but a table and a mirror. How do you get out?" Poison Ivy says, "In the mirror." Deadshot says, "You see what you saw." Victor Zsasz says, "You get the saw." Clayface says, "You cut the table in half." Killer Croc says, "Now you put the two halves together." Firefly says, "Two halves make a hole." Scarecrow says, "You go into the hole." Then Two-Face says, "And come out the other side." We then join Batman and Jim Gordon on a roof, where we see Jim Gordon smoking a pipe. Then he tells Batman, "They asked for you, both of them. Bring me the Batman and the war ends." Then Batman says, "What did you say?" Jim Gordon then takes a pull from his pipe as he looks at Batman. Then Batman says, "We need to go in." Then Jim Gordon responds, "No, I saw it. They wanted me to see it. The Joker's got the whole city wired with bombs. Riddler's got guards everywhere, pointed at civilians. We go in wrong, they see a hint of you, how many die? I'm not repeating the Joke Factory incident. It wasn't funny the first time. I've contacted the feds. This is a war. We go in like it's a war. Not cops and masks. Overwhelming force. Until then, you and I, we keep them contained. Anything comes downtown, we push it back. Anything tries to go uptown, we keep it out. Let their soldiers kill each other and keep them from getting new soldiers." We then hear Batman narrate. By that point, every villain had been given an offer. Some by Joker, some by Riddler. The few who said no to the offer didn't live long, with one notable exception. We then see a window, then suddenly hear a crash as Kite Man is thrown out of the window. We then see Catwoman at the window as she says, "Kite Man, please." We then see Kite Man falling to the ground as he says, "Hell yeah!" Then Batman swoops in and saves Kite Man. Then we hear present-day Selina Kyle narrate, "I knew you were there." Then present-day Bruce Wayne narrates, "I'm sure." Then we see Catwoman during the war say to Batman, "I knew you were there." Then Batman says, "I'm sure." In the past, during the war, we see Batman jump into the window. Then we hear the present-day Bruce tell Selina, "You explained this was a Maroni crime family apartment. The family had stolen a fortune from you. With the war on, you were taking the fortune back." We then see the present-day Selina Kyle tell Bruce, "I lied." Then Bruce says, "You lied?" Back in the past, during the war, we see Catwoman opening a safe as Batman questions her, "Why haven't you taken side?" Then Catwoman responds by saying, "I'm not like them. They're criminals." Then Batman says, "You're currently breaking into a safe that's not yours." Then Catwoman says, "You know what I mean. I'm not like them. They're unsuccessful criminals." Batman then asks Catwoman, "Do I need to worry about you?" To which Catwoman replies, "Are you checking up on me, Bats? Are you trying to protect me?" Batman answers, "No, no one needs to protect you." Catwoman then leans in close to Batman and says, "Oh, well then, yes, you very much have to worry about me." Then Catwoman kisses Batman. We then hear present-day Bruce narrate, "Afterwards I slept. When I woke, you were gone, with the diamonds." Then Selina replies, "Okay, yes, but in my defense, I did warn you, I'm not exactly unsuccessful." We then see Deathstroke on a roof and Deadshot on another, both with snipers aimed ready to fire, as we hear present-day Bruce narrate. That afternoon, the battle of the snipers began. After Gordon didn't respond to his offer, Riddler ordered Deathstroke to lead the west side and kill me. Joker, who had a man in the Riddler's ranks, learned of this move and sent Deadshot out of the west side to kill me. The two set up their nest overlooking Gordon's roof as they waited for the signal to come on. They each saw each other across the way. We then see both Deadshot and Deathstroke fire their snipers at each other. We see the bullets fly, then collide in midair, exploding, as we hear present-day Bruce narrate. They were unfortunately well matched. They fought hard, I chased them where I could, I stopped them where I could, but they were the best mercenaries in the world, and I was a year away from kicking a tree. It took 5 days. On the first day of their fighting, 4 people died in the crossfire as they sniped cruelly across the Gotham Central terminal. On the second day, 14 died when they sprayed M16s into a crowd. On the third day, Deadshot bombed a building. 28 people died. On the fourth day, they went back to guns. 62 gone! We then see Batman during the war, doing his best to save as many lives as he can, as we hear present-day Bruce narrate. On the 5th day, it took 5 days. 5 days of watching them murder my city, as they try to murder each other. 5 days where Joker and Riddler got to have their war, while I chased their minions. 5 days of death, 5 days of blood, 5 days. And on the 5th day, it took 5 days! We then hear present-day Selina say, "Bat, Bruce, are you?" Then Bruce says, I'm fine. I'm sorry. It's just I caught up with them on the 5th day." In the war, we see Batman punch Deathstroke in the face and kick Deadshot in the gut as Batman screams, "Enough!" Batman continues to fight the two mercenaries as he says, "This ends today! I'm ending this today! Do you hear me? I'm done! You're done! No more! No more! No more! Ah!" During the war, we see Jim Gordon on a rooftop telling Batman, "While you were playing with your dead men, feds finally responded, went in unannounced, 2 hours ago, to clean up GCPD's mess. They said special forces, best of the best. 2 units simultaneous, hitting east and west. They lost contact with the west unit 20 minutes in. Well, they got one message after that. Joker came on and said, I went to buy some camouflage uniforms the other day, but couldn't find any." And in the east, Riddler called me directly on the landline. He said he was ready whenever we are. He's ready for us to come in and clean up all of this mess. City always falls, we always catch it. We then hear present-day Bruce narrate. 5 days after they told Gordon I could end this war. 5 days after I saw you. Deadshot. Floyd Lawton was checked into Gotham Mercy. His upper jaw, his orbital socket, and his right cheekbone were shattered. A blood clot had ruptured between his skull and his brain. He went into surgery immediately. 8 hours later, he was declared stable. That much head trauma? The doctor said it was a miracle he survived. Nothing but a miracle. We start the story off in the dining hall in Wayne Manor, where we see Alfred Pennyworth preparing a table for Bruce's dinner guests. We then hear the Joker say, "Knock, knock." The Riddler then says, "Who's there?" Joker answers, "You're up." Riddler then asks, "You're up who?" Then Joker tells the Riddler, "No, you're up who?" It's then revealed that the dinner guests at Bruce Wayne's table are the Joker and his men, Mr. Freeze, Scarface, and Penguin, and on the other side of the table is the Riddler and his people, Killer Croc, Two-Face, and Poison Ivy. We then hear Bruce Wayne narrate, "In my youth, my mother used to say, when all was lost, have dinner." I would object. What was special about dinner? Every night was dinner. Not just dinner, she'd say. Traditional French 9 courses. Not eating, the art of eating. The art of sitting at a table and taking the time to understand your food. To understand the company with whom you've chosen to share this food. If you do it right, and by right she meant proper, prepared, practiced. If you do it right, it can save you. We start the meal off with the first course, hors d'oeuvres. We then see the Riddler buttering his food as he replies to the Joker's joke, "I'm a poo, ha 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 ha." The Riddler's laughter seems to piss the Joker off. Then, the second course of the meal is brought out, potage. Bruce Wayne then says to both men, "Gentlemen, if you'll forgive my interruption, we have a long way to go tonight, and as much as I've enjoyed these jokes and riddles, my city, our city, the city to which the Waynes have dedicated their lives, Gotham, suffers greatly in this war, as you have suffered greatly in this war." We then see Bruce think of a moment during the war, himself as Batman, looking at a pile of dead bodies, victims of the war. Bruce then uses a napkin, as he continues to tell Joker and Riddler, and we are all here to find an end to this suffering. The third course of the meal is then presented, Passan. We then hear the Joker say, "Edward, do you ever have to cut a man's head off? I mean, when he's still alive?" The Riddler replies by saying, "Yes, on occasion." The Joker then says, "Have you ever noticed the man's last wiggle does not mark the end of his life? Even after that, after his final struggle, he's still there, looking at you, for a moment I mean. Then enough blood comes, and he's gone." Bruce then says to the Joker, "Is this a joke?" The Joker answers, "I don't know. Is it?" The Riddler then tells Bruce, he's trying to explain in his own way, the absurdity of your approach, Mr. Wayne. It seems profound to him, that this, his word, wiggle, stops before the mind stops. When faced with the end, the fight ends, the fight for some sort of solution. He thinks this somehow proves that solutions are illusions, that in the end, all that matters is the knife, and the cut. It's an absurd approach, of course, but he'd probably claim that's the point." Then suddenly, the Joker stands up and throws a knife across the table at the Riddler's face, and right as the knife is about to strike him, the Riddler catches the knife and says, "Now, Joker, is this the kind of behavior we agreed to when Mr. Wayne asked us to sit down?" Both sides of the dinner party then draw out their weapons, each side pointed at the other. The Joker then yells, "Say your prayers, mugs." Two-Face then shouts, "I really thought this would be nice, but I guess we get to be mean." Bruce then says, "Alfred." Then Alfred answers, "Yes, Master Bruce." Bruce then tells Alfred, "The fish, though admirably prepared, does not seem to agree with our guests. Perhaps it would be best if we cleared a bit early and moved on to the next course." We then start the fourth course of the meal, the entree. Bruce then tells the Riddler and Joker, "Now, my understanding in speaking with Commissioner James Gordon is that the conflict you two are having is over this Batman person? Obviously, it is difficult to talk in detail about Batman with the Commissioner. Sadly, Gordon has a relationship with this deranged fellow, but I'm not Gordon. I'm a concerned Gotham citizen who happens to have tremendous resources." Bruce then thinks about his meeting with Jim Gordon before this dinner on the roof as Batman, as he continues telling Joker and Riddler, "What you say here will not harm you. On the contrary, with honesty we will find truth, and with truth, and perhaps some of my money, we will find peace. So, gentlemen, please, if you will, why Batman?" The Riddler then answers Bruce by saying, "Batman, yes, well, Batman is," then Joker says, "problematic." Riddler then replies, "Indeed, my pale friend, he is rather problematic. But I'm going to capture him, and not just him, his friends, his family, all the love in his world." Riddler then sips some of his wine and says, "I'm going to line up his loved ones in front of a long ditch with Batman at the bottom, tied at the bottom of the ditch, looking up. He'll be down there looking up at everyone, and I'll simply shoot each of them in the head, everyone he's cared for, a single shot, bang, and they'll fall forward onto Batman as he struggles, as he wiggles in his ropes." The Riddler raises his glass, then takes a sip and says, "And I'll look over, look down into him, point my gun down onto him, and he'll know, soaked in their fluids, he'll know, and I'll say, 'Riddle me this, Batman!' And right before he hears the perfect riddle, bang!" The Joker then cuts his food and says, "That's enjoyable, but it wouldn't be my preference. I'm going to strangle him. I'm going to feel it in my palms, at the beginning of my fingers, the sinews in his neck pulsing, the air trying to push through, dying to get in, and I'll laugh. I'll choke on my own laughter, as breathless as Batman, and he'll look at me, not afraid or angry, peaceful, and he'll smile." We then start the next course of the meal, sorbet. Bruce Wayne then says to both men, "Alright, we've made progress. We're close. You want to kill the Batman? So does he. I understand. So why don't we do this? Convince me now, quickly. Give me one good reason. Tell me why you should and he shouldn't. I'll decide the better case, and I'll give $1 billion to the winner. With that money, you can bribe all the other fellow's troops, turn the whole city on Batman, strangle him, shoot him, and once you've accomplished that, the reason the fight will be gone, and the fight itself will be gone, and the Wayne fortune will have again saved the city." Bruce then looks at both men and says, "Joker, Riddler." Then Bruce stands up and shouts, "Damn it! Don't you fools see he's playing you? Can't you hear the Bat laughing at you? Don't you know he's one step ahead of you? You're doing his job for him. You're killing each other. All he has to do is lean back on a stupid gargoyle and watch, and I'm offering you a way out. I don't care about the Batman. I care about the city. When are you going to stop fighting this idiot war and start winning it?" The next course of the meal begins, the salad. The Riddler then says, "My answer is simple. He can't kill Batman because he's a fraud. You see, I solve puzzles. And what's a bigger puzzle than the Joker? So I solved him. Everyone projects such tragedy on you, guessing at your start, your cruel father, your poor wife, your dead child. What terrible something made you white and green and mad? But we both know that's a little bluff, isn't it? There's no pain in you, no suffering. Not really, not yet. No, it's all an act. You're not white and green and mad, you're just white and green. You laugh and you kill, you joke, you say whatever. I get it, but under that facade of yours, you're just a plain normal man. There's no father, wife, kid, insanity, there's just average boring you. You have no idea what it's like to be truly gone. To know that reality isn't passive, an experience that comes to you. To know that everything is contingent upon your own will. Everything bows to your own perspective. Everything answers to your answers. The next course of the meal is then served, fromage. The Joker then says, "One reason, why should I kill the Batman? Isn't it obvious? I'm the Joker, he's the Riddler, and in the end, who cares about the Riddler?" The next course of the meal is then served, dessert. Bruce Wayne then tells the Joker and Riddler, "I will contact you shortly about the money through Gordon. I hope you can understand. I can't make my decision right now, not without fear that the losing side would not take it well. I understand, you have to kill the Batman, it is what it is, but please understand, I don't want you to have to kill me." The Joker then says, "Then are we finished?" Then Riddler says, "Yes, Joker, we're finished." Bruce Wayne then tells both sides, "Well, there's still cake, and Alfred makes such good cake." We then see everyone leaving Wayne Manor, as Bruce says to Joker and Riddler, "The last thing, the hostages you kept for your safety for this evening. As you see, you have not been harassed by GCPD or the Bat. I would hope you would set them free upon your safe return." Riddler then tells Bruce, "Of course, Mr. Wayne, we're not monsters, most of the time." The Joker then says, "Of course, I think I killed my hostages before I came. I don't know, I'll have to check when I get back." Joker then says as he leaves, "Knock, knock." Then Riddler answers, "Who's there?" Joker then says, "Two." Then Riddler says, "To who?" And Joker answers, "No, you twit, it's to whom." With both sides of the war now gone, Bruce goes down to the Batcave for the last course, coffee. Bruce then says, "Thank you, Alfred, for everything." Alfred replies, "Yes, well, it was a unique serving experience." Then Bruce says, "Mother would have been horrified." Alfred replies by saying, "Yes, Master Bruce, certainly." Bruce then sips from his coffee as he says, "Letting guests leave without dessert, not offering sherry, or even coffee. Mother would have, well, it's just not good, is it?" We then hear Bruce narrate, "I didn't lie to them. After the deaths, after Deadshot, I realized that the only way to stop the war was for one side to win. I arranged a dinner to judge them, to see them up close, to see which was worse. And after I knew which side would get the money, and with the money, the real help he needed to defeat the other, I knew which man I would go to as Batman, which man I'd fight for, which side I'd join." We start the story off at the carnival in Gotham, where we join Kite Man, who is with Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Kite Man then says to the two twins, "Hey, Tweedles, got word from Joker. He wants us, the three of us, to do recon into the Riddler's territory tonight." Then the twins say, "Oh well, that will be fun." Kite Man then replies, "Yeah, that's good. It'll be my first time going out to there. Nice to see you've done it, and you're ready to go again." The Tweedle twins then say, "I fought Batman. He hit me in the face. Do you know how much that hurts? Even if everything goes wrong, who does the Riddler have that hits as hard as Batman?" Kite Man then puts on his helmet and says, "Yeah, you're right. Even if everything goes wrong, who does the Riddler have that hits as hard as Batman?" Later on, we see Batman fighting Kite Man. We then notice that Batman is wearing one of the Riddler's armbands, as it seems he's joined his army. We then see Batman crack Kite Man in the face with a punch. Then we see Kite Man knocked out, hanging from his kite, which is tangled up. We then hear a conversation between Charles Brown and his son. Charlie Brown then says to his dad, Kite Man, "Daddy, can I tell you something?" Charles answers, "Sure, Charlie, what's up?" Charlie then says, "Mommy was talking on the phone. I don't know to who." Charles then says, "Okay." Then Charlie says, "And she said, well, she was talking about you, and well, Mommy said you're a joke." We then see Kite Man sitting down with the Joker, as the Joker then says, "It was Batman." Kite Man replies, "Yeah, he was wearing one of those Riddler things. I don't know, I guess he's doing Riddler things now. He took D and Dumb, knocked them out hard, took them, I don't know where." Joker then grabs a nearby chair and lifts it over his head. Then Kite Man shouts, "Wait, Joker, no!" Then Joker cracks the chair over Kite Man's head, knocking him out, leaving him laying on the ground. Then we hear a conversation between Kite Man and his son. Kite Man then says to his son, "What?" Then Charlie replies, "Why did Mommy say you're a joke?" Charles answers, "She said that in front of you? Then I'm a joke?" Then Charlie says, "Well, it was on the phone. That time, she said it before too. That was probably in front of me. She says it lots." Kite Man then tells his son, "Your mother shouldn't. Don't worry about that, buddy. That's not your business." Charlie then says, "But Daddy, are you a joke?" We then see Kite Man stand up after his beating from the Joker, then suit up and walk away. Later on, we see Kite Man in the streets of Gotham, checking on the ventriloquist, who is kneeled down in flooding water. Kite Man then says, "Hey, you okay, man?" Then the ventriloquist says, "No, I am not okay. Scarface and I were fighting Killer Croc, and then we were fighting Batman, and Batman took Scarface and went away, and then I came here, and I don't have Scarface." Kite Man then says, "It'll be fine, we'll just..." Then the ventriloquist says, "Batman, he took my puppet! He took my puppet! Give me back my puppet!" Later on, we see Kite Man gliding through the sky, with Man-Bat flying at his side. Kite Man then says, "You see anyone? Freeze said we'd see the whole platoon. How can we provide air support when there's no..." Then suddenly, a blast shoots and hits Man-Bat, knocking him out of the sky, sending him crashing into the ground. Kite Man then shouts, "Man-Bat, what the?" Then Kite Man sees the Batjet flying right in front of him. Then Kite Man says, "Batman, what the?" Then Kite Man falls and lands into a pond. Then as he stands up, he overhears a conversation happening on the bridge above him. We see two shadowy figures on the bridge above Kite Man. The first voice then says, "Remember, Two-Face, Nigma made a deal with the Bat. We can't kill anyone." The second voice replies, "But Harvey, I really want to kill him." The first voice then answers, "Well, that may be what you want. What I want is to not have Nigma and Batman trying to kill me." The second voice then says, "Alright, fine, but what if I kill him a little bit?" The first voice then says, "Just a little bit? Are you insane?" Then the second voice replies, Yes, I am insane." The first voice then says, "I see, yes, well then, I suppose you can kill him, but just a little bit." Then as Kite Man is down in the pond, we hear his conversation continue with his son. Charles then says to Charlie, "Your mother didn't mean that it sounded, it's fine." Then Charlie replies, "It sounded like you're a joke. Is Mommy a liar?" Then Charles answers, maybe. She's not a liar, no. Okay, sometimes I am. I guess I play with kites too much. And your mother is? She does a lot of stuff for you, so maybe she's right." Then Charlie says, "You are a joke, Daddy." Then Charles responds, "Yeah, fine. I'm a joke." Later on, we see Kite Man at the carnival on the swings, as Cluemaster walks up to him and says, "Every day it's getting worse, and everybody's panicking. Oh no, Batman and Riddler are beating us. I'm so scared, but I am the Cluemaster. I got this figured out." The Cluemaster then hands Kite Man a bottle of water, then says, "We all joined Joker because we thought he'd kill us if we didn't. And once we joined, we couldn't switch, obviously, because the Riddler'd kill us for not joining the Riddler in the first place. Now, though, all we gotta do is get beat, right? And Batman won't kill us, and we can just slip out and still be, alive. You see, Kite Man? From here on out, everything is easy." Later on, we see the Cluemaster being attacked and injected with fear toxins from the Scarecrow. Then the Cluemaster screams, "Ah!" After defeating the Cluemaster, Scarecrow turns to Kite Man and says to him,
"And now, sir, happily, it is your turn to experience the delight of dread. Isn't that nice? Soldier of the Joker, isn't that so nice that you get to wake into the nightmare of your life?"
Then as Scarecrow reaches for Kite Man screams, "No! No! That's not nice!" We then see Kite Man wake up near the Gotham Pier. We then hear his conversation continue with his son. Charles says to his son, "Look, buddy, here's the thing. I try a lot of things, and I'm not always good at them. And when I fail, people laugh. I get it. It's funny to watch. Like I'm slipping on a banana. And maybe when they watch and they're laughing, they say he's a joke. I'm a joke. And so I guess I am. But what am I supposed to do, I'm supposed to just quit? Just so they stop laughing? Just so they don't call me a joke?" Later on, we see Kite Man flying over Gotham, holding Mr. Freeze beneath him. Then Mr. Freeze says, "You worry too much, my kited friend. War is a science. I have mastered science. Therefore I have mastered war." Then suddenly, a batarang strikes Mr. Freeze's protective dome and cracks it open. Then Mr. Freeze says, "Oh, I see. We're going to lose. Very badly." Then later on, we see Kite Man with the Mad Hatter as the two are sneaking around. Then the Mad Hatter says, "There's a place like no place on Earth, a land of wonder, mystery, and danger. Some say to survive it, you need to be mad, as a Hatter, which luckily, I am." Then suddenly, the Mad Hatter is tied up by a bat claw, then pulled into the air. Then Kite Man turns around and sees only the Mad Hatter's head on the ground. Then he says, "What?" We then go to an auditorium, where the Joker is giving a speech to his army. The Joker says, "The war goes well. Yes, the Batman and the Riddler have united, have joined, have merged to kill us. Together, they have struck us time and again, ripping at our very heart. But we, all of us here today, you in this audience, you this proud army."
You and I, we have withstood their mighty effort. We have taken their blows, their betrayal, their unmitigated fury, and despite all odds, we have emerged victorious. Do you hear me? Do you understand what this means? What this makes you? All of you in this audience, you are all triumphant.
We then see that the crowd Joker was talking to was totally empty, except for one person, Kite Man. And as the speech ends, Kite Man claps in applause. We then hear the conversation between Kite Man and his son continue, where Charles says to his son, "So there's an old story. I ever tell you this? Like a guy is pushing this boulder up to the top of this hill, and he's cursed. So like every time he gets it right up to the top, it rolls down. That's the curse. He never makes it, but he has to get it up. So he goes back down, and he gets it, and he does it over, pushing it up again. Watching it fall, over and over, forever. That's a joke, right? It's funny, right? At the top he's happy, and whoops, ha ha ha. And that's me. That's all of us. We're all just pushing a boulder. Whatever we're trying, we're going to watch it fall. We're going to hear them laugh. Right at the top of the hill. All of us. We're all jokes. But the thing is, right? You gotta laugh too. It's the only way. I mean, you gotta laugh with them. Okay, I'm a joke. I'm a joke and I'm funny. Then you're laughing with them. And if you're laughing with them, then at least you're laughing." We then see Batman fighting Kite Man in the streets. Batman knocks Kite Man down and says, "Stay down!" But Kite Man pushes himself back up. Then Batman cracks him down again and says, "Stay down!" But Kite Man stands up again, only to get smashed in the face again, knocking him out. Then Batman says, "Please, Kite Man, stay down!" We then see Kite Man wake up inside of an interrogation room. Then we hear his conversation with his son continue, as Charlie says to his dad, "Daddy, you know I don't like to fly kites, because I can't get them to fly?" Then Charles responds, "Yeah, you know I could show you." Then Charlie says, "You want to go outside and do the kites? Like now?" Then Charles responds, "Really, Charlie? You want to go fly them with me?" And Charlie says, "I never get it up. It'll fail, I know. But if it fails, then I'm a joke, and I can laugh, and we can laugh, right? Me and you, Daddy. It'll be funny." Then Charles says to his son, "Yeah, Charlie, it'll be hilarious." We then see the Riddler and Batman enter the room. The Riddler rolls up his sleeves and says, "I can be cracked, I can be made, I can be told, I can be played. What am I? A joke?" Then the Riddler puts his hands on the table and says, "Someone had to be the last person the Joker trusted, and that person, that last stupid person, would know where the Joker is running to. Now that his war is lost, we made it you, because we knew you'd talk. Even after I killed your boy, you'd still squeal, because you're a joke, because you're weak, cowardly, because you're..." Then Charles says, "Kite Man!" And Riddler responds, "Hell yeah!" We start this story off with the Joker asking a man who he has prisoner,
A year from now, will you remember me?
The man replies, "Yes, I'll remember you." Then the Joker says,
A week from now, will you remember me?
The man replies, "Yes." The Joker then says,
Knock, knock.
and the man replies, "Who's there?" The Joker then yells,
Whose? But I thought you said you would remember me.
Then the Joker pulls out a knife and says,
No, no, no. You think you can lie to me, to my face.
The man then shouts, "No!" Then the Joker says,
What do you think this is? Some sort of joke?
The Joker then pulls out a knife and stabs the man to death. We then hear Bruce Wayne in the present day tell Selina Kyle, Kite Man had given us Joker's final sanctuary, the tower where it all started. We then go outside of the Joker's tower, where we see Batman and the Riddler looking up. Batman then says, "Traps on the roof, the elevators, the stairwells. Can't go up, can't come from up to go down." The Riddler then says, "A bomb is on the floor next to a computer, 2 inches away. A can of gasoline, 3 inches away. And a bottle of nitroglycerin, 4 inches away. The bomb goes off. What gets destroyed first?" Then Batman answers, "The bomb." And Riddler asks Batman, "You have a man inside?" Then Batman says,
No, not a man, and not inside.
We then see that Catwoman is climbing up the side of Joker's tower. Once Catwoman reaches the top of the building, she looks in the window, then tells Batman through a comlink, "Meow, office, 73rd floor. As you said, Bat, he's stabbing a guy." Joker then sees Catwoman. Then he shouts,
What? You?
Then Joker reaches for his gun and shoots Catwoman, sending her falling down. As she falls, Batman yells through the comlink,
Cat!
Then we go to the present day, where Bruce Wayne is still telling Selina Kyle the story of the War of Jokes and Riddles. Bruce then tells Selina, "The way the Joker was then, I shouldn't have. I'm sorry I put you in that position." Then Selina replies, "Bat, how many times have I told you? Never apologize for a position you put me in." We then go back to where we left off in the war, where Batman shouts,
Cat!
Then, as she's falling down, Catwoman says, "I'm here, Bat. Just give me a moment." Then, she grabs a ledge and swings herself through a lower window. Batman then says through the comlink, "Cat!" And Catwoman answers, "The glass! He shot through the glass! There are no triggers on the glass!" We then see Batman tell the Riddler, "There's a way in, through the windows." Then Batman starts walking away. The Riddler then says, "And where are you going?" And Batman replies, "You're the Riddler, figure it out." The Riddler then tells Batman, please! You know I'm not letting you anywhere near the Joker when I'm not near the Joker. I see your plans within plans, Batman. Now you'll ask me to come with you. Then Batman says, you should come with me. Then the Riddler replies, you, me, the Joker, alone. No, I don't think that would work either. For me, we go in. We bring my army to watch the Joker and you. Disagree? And I burn the city. Then Batman says, Nigma, think. We have to go small. How can your army get onto the 73rd floor? Through the window. The Riddler then gives Batman a funny look. Then Batman says, no! And the Riddler says, hell yeah! We then see Kite Man on a roof, wearing a new upgraded suit, as Kite Man says, and how much do you weigh? We then see that he's talking to Killer Croc, and Croc replies, a lot! Kite Man then says, right, but maybe a more specific figure than that. Doesn't have to be exact. Do you have sort of a general estimate? Then Croc replies, a lot more than a kite can carry. Then Kite Man says, well, you might be surprised what a kite can carry. We then see Batman, Kite Man, the Riddler and his army, flying through the sky, all in kites, towards the Joker's tower. We then see the Joker, cutting the arm of the man from earlier. Then the Joker says, why did the man, toss or throw his clock? Why did the man throw his watch? Through the window. Then he throws the man's arm out of the window and says, why did the man throw his watch out the window? He wanted to see time fly. Then the Joker turns around and we see the Riddler flying his kite through the sky, aimed right at the Joker. Then suddenly, we see everyone on their kites crash through the window. Then Riddler says, knock knock, and the Joker replies, who's there? Then the Riddler says, cows go, and Joker replies, cows go who? The Riddler then says, no you, what was it? You twit, cows go moo. What? Isn't it funny? Shouldn't you be laughing? The Joker then leaps at the Riddler in a mad rage, but the Riddler is quick to counter his attack. Then the Riddler says, I'm so sorry. I probably told it wrong. You see, jokes just aren't my thing. Then the Riddler punches the Joker in the face. Then the Riddler says, how about a riddle instead? You're running a race, and you passed the person in second place. What place are you in now? Then the Riddler kicks the Joker in the face and says, well, you didn't pass the person in first place, so you're in second. You're in second place. You're always in second place. We then see Batman put his hand on the Riddler's shoulder. Then Batman says, enough! It's over! The Riddler and his army then turn to Batman, and the Riddler says, yes, you're quite right. It certainly is over. Right, friends? The Riddler and his army are all ready to strike and kill Batman. Then the Riddler says, little Tommy is dead. A metal bar is on his back. There's a bit of food on his lips. What happened? Little Tommy is nothing but a little mouse caught in a trap. Batman then smiles, turns around and says, Kite Man! Then Kite Man presses a button on the gadget as he says, Kite Man! Then suddenly, all of the Riddler's army is sent flying in reverse out of the windows, leaving Batman, Kite Man, the Riddler, and the Joker all alone in the tower. We then go to the present day, where Bruce Wayne is telling Selina Kyle he'd given them their packs, made minor adjustments to Firefly's armor to compensate for the wind, jet-propelled inverse parachutes. Chuck Brown's own invention. Instead of slowing your fall, they quicken your ascent. I had Alfred in the Bat Blimp, waiting just high enough that they'd all be passed out when he gathered them. We then go back to Joker's tower during the war. The Riddler turns around and says, Kite Man! Then Batman says, plans within plans. Then Kite Man tells Riddler, you took my boy, so I took your war. The Riddler is still shocked and confused by all of this, as he says again, Kite Man! Then Kite Man replies, hell yeah! Then the Riddler cracks Kite Man in the face with a punch as he shouts, oh, shut the hell up! We then see the Joker start to stand up. Then he says, my wife. She asked me what I was doing today. I said nothing. She said, you did that yesterday. I said I wasn't finished. Then, as Joker stands up, him, the Riddler, and Batman all confront each other, ready to fight, ready to end this war. We then go back to the present day, where Bruce Wayne is telling Selina Kyle what happened next, when it was just us. No one but the insane know what happened next. But I have to tell you, you have to know, Cat. Because then you'll know me, who I am, and then you can decide if I'm worth your life, your love, if you can forgive me, if you can marry me. We start this story off with Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle sitting down on a bed. Bruce looks down in sadness. Then Selina leans forward to check on him. Bruce then puts his hands on his head. Then Selina comforts him. We then see several of the faces of the people who were killed during the War of Jokes and Riddles by both the Riddler and Joker's army. Innocent lives that were lost in the crossfire. We then see the Riddler, the Joker, and Batman all staring at each other, ready to finish the fight. We then go back to the present day with Bruce and Selina. Selina holds Bruce's hand, then Bruce kisses Selina's hand, then he looks her right in the eyes. Back during the war, we see Joker and the Riddler both charge at Batman. Then the Riddler says, "Finally!" Then Batman trips the Joker. Then he blocks a punch from the Riddler. The Riddler then punches Batman in the face. Then Batman blocks another punch. Then Batman knocks the Riddler to the ground. The Joker then runs behind Batman and smashes him in the back with a light pole. Batman then turns around and cracks Joker in the face. Then, the Riddler cracks a chair over Batman's head. Batman does his best to hold them both off. Then he quickly dodges and moves out of the way of the Joker's strike, which misses and hits the Riddler instead. Then, Batman punches Joker and knocks him back to the ground. Then the Riddler and Batman each exchange blows until Batman has the upper hand. Then in a rage, Batman keeps punching the Riddler. The Riddler cries out, "Mercy! Mercy, please! Mercy!" Then Batman, who's on top of the Riddler, then says, "Mercy?" The Riddler shouts, "Yes, I lose. You win. Fine. Marvelous. Now tell me, I can't see over your thighs. Is he laughing?" Batman replies, "What?" And Riddler says, "The Joker, you twit. He should be laughing. Is he laughing?" We then see that Joker has an angry look on his face. Then Batman tells Riddler, "I don't know. What do you think?" Then Joker says, "No." Then Riddler shouts out in anger, "No? Why, it should have been enough. Wage a war. Take you, the city, the Bat, all to the brink, only to lose. Because of what? Kite Man. I'm humiliated, defeated, beaten in front of you because of Kite Man. Do you know how much work it took to create a foil named Kite Man? To set him up as the informant, to kill his kid, to convince Batman to leave him for last, knowing you'd come here, knowing Kite Man could lead everyone here. Me, defeated by Kite Man, begging mercy from Batman. That's funny? You should be laughing." Then Joker says, "Knock, knock." Then Batman says, "Enough!" And the Riddler replies, "This isn't about you, you idiot! How did you ever? Not every story is your story. You really think it bothers me you're alive. I could kill you easily. I could kill everyone you love. If I wanted, you'd all be in a ditch tomorrow. I keep you alive for the reason we all keep you alive. You're that first riddle you hear when you're a child, that you return to as an adult. Though you know the answer, you're not a challenge, but you're fun." Then, the Riddler tells Joker, "But you, the man who laughs at anything, but who now can't laugh anymore." Then, the Joker says, "Who's there? Incompetent interrupting cow." Then the Riddler says, "That is an opportunity. That's a riddle I want to solve, that I did solve, by making this war, by losing this war, and you should be laughing." We then hear Bruce Wayne in the present day tell Selina Kyle, "Kite Man's son, Charlie, I was there, after Enigma poisoned him, killed him, to solve a riddle, to tell a damn joke. Charlie asked his father if he said that word, the bad word, would he go to the bad place? His father told him no, but Charlie didn't hear that. He was already gone." We then go back to the fight during the war, where the Riddler says to Joker, "Didn't you get it?" And Joker replies, "Incompetent interrupting cow who?" The Riddler then shouts, "Do I have to explain it to you? Are you that stupid?" Then Batman pulls out a knife. The Riddler then shouts at Batman, "Wait, are you? No!" Then Joker says, "Moo!" And Riddler screams, "No!" Then Batman smiles and says, "Hell yeah!" We then go back to the present day, where Bruce tells Selina, "It wasn't an accident. I didn't think I'd fail. I wasn't out of control or insane. I knew who I was. I knew what I was doing. I understood the choice I'd made. I thrust the knife out to kill the Riddler, and the Joker stopped me." We then go back to the war, where Batman stabs at the Riddler with his knife, but the Joker blocks the knife with his hand and gets stabbed through it. The Joker then smiles and says, "Now, that's funny!" Then the Joker begins laughing. We then go back to the present day, where Bruce tells Selina, "Later in Arkham, I asked the Joker why he'd saved me. He asked me if I knew the difference between a joke and a riddle. I said no. He said when I figured that out, I'd understand." Then Bruce looks down in sadness and says, "What separates me from them? I have lines, right? I can stop. I have limits. They can't control themselves. I can. I'm good. They're bad. They kill. I don't." Then Bruce stands up and walks to the window. Then he says, "That's what everyone thinks, but it's not true. What separates me from them is a hand on a knife. His hand. And now you know. I'm not noble. I'm not some knight in the dark. I'm just what he made me." Then Bruce sits down next to Selina, and Selina says, "Bat." And Bruce replies, "Cat, I love you. I have to love you. But that doesn't mean it isn't. You don't have to love me." Then Selina stands up and says to Bruce, what's the difference between a joke and a riddle? And Bruce replies, cat. Then Selena stands up and walks over to the window. Then she says, the answer could be clever, or funny, or political, or deep, or anything. It could be, but it's not. The answer is, who cares? You are who he made. Fine. And I'm whatever the horrors of my life made me. Fine. All of our sins, our earned tragedies, all of it, all that damn pain. It's all here with us. It is us. And I'm sure it's all meaningful, or hilarious, or philosophical, or deep, or something, or everything. We could spend our whole lives mired in the complexities, but really, compared to us, compared to you and me, what we have, or could have, all that pain we have, honestly, who cares? Then Bruce says, Selena. And Selena replies, Bruce, say it again, but this time, you poor boy, don't demand. Please just ask me. Then, Bruce Wayne looks at Selena Kyle, and he says to her, will you marry me? Selena then smiles, and with tears coming from her eyes, she says, yes. And that ends today's story. Comic published by DC Comics. All rights, story art, and characters belong to DC Comics and their respective owners. Not me. This is Ben. Batman issue 32, The War of Jokes and Riddles, Part 8. And I'm your host, Keith One Shot. If you like this video, make sure to check out the rest of my Comic Complete dramatic reading series, and support DC Comics by picking up a copy of the trades and single issue comics. Support your local comic book shop, take care, and have a great day. Goodbye!